Live from New York. It's the show that texted the group. Oh no. I wasn't being sarcastic. I just wrote, oh no. I felt really upset and sad and nervous for Brou, who is currently not here.
How can you blame him for not being here? It's as bad as it gets. Is he coming?
Here's the trumpets. I like that he's wheeling it with his broken arm.
Brou, do you need help?
I'm in pain. That one hurt, Nick.
You didn't want me to help you up, buddy?
I think I can manage.
This is...
Golly.
Oh no. Oh.
Hold the chair.
Chair's got
Hold his chair.
Hold it,
I didn't know. Situated. It's a rough loss.
Do you have palsy?
It's a rough loss.
Face.
They always putting me in a bad position.
That's true.
Always. Man.
Do you want to start the show? I'm not 100% sure how you're feeling.
You know I play through pain.
That's
Wilds.
true. That's true.
And I'm playing through a lot of pain today. I'm playing hurt.
Physically and
Like the
emotionally.
rest of Flock Nation.
Wow.
I'm playing hurt.
One wing.
Yeah, you got
all I
more
got
than
left.
wings.
A likely grab and an unlikely miss. Isaiah Likely's catch on 4th and 7, or 3rd and 7, not 4th and 7, sets up a 44-yard kick for Tyler Loop. He misses the kick, and the Ravens missed the playoffs. Okay, Brou, are you surprised your Ravens fell short?
Well, Wilds, as you guys know, last week and going into the weekend, I was very confident.
Yeah.
I put a fresh coat of dye in my hair for today's victory lap.
It looks great.
I mean, I wasn't fooling nobody. Everybody knew, right?
I didn't know. I feel betrayed.
But then, as the game approached, I began to think about some things, Nick. Like, they're 8-8.
Yeah.
They haven't played good football all year.
Yeah.
And then, at the beginning of the third quarter, their best defensive player, Kyle Hamilton, gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, really, sadly, Wilds, I'm not surprised. I'm gobsmacked! Thunderstruck! A brother is stupefied. I can't believe they let it go, Wilds. They had it in the bag. Enough of this. The box.
Oh, the box.
The box.
This is too much. The sad music again?
Yeah.
I'm putting all this stuff away. This
Oh,
Raven
not the neck
stuff.
brace.
Well,
All this.
save that, though.
That's part
You're
of
gonna
the,
need it
That's
in the
part
future.
of the Raven stuff.
Yeah.
Everything has to go into the box.
You want me to help you with the robe, Brou?
I think I got it.
Oh.
I think I got it.
It's a sad
I'm glad
day.
to take this mug off. I'm gonna be honest. It hadn't been a good year for. I mean, at least the past few years, at least they gave me a nice regular season.
Yeah.
Even the Jordans, I'm going full Nick Wright on an airplane and letting my feet
Keep your socks on.
in the wind, Wilds. This is Nick on airplanes when we travel. Let your feet go in the wind. I'm doing that the rest of the show. But the box,
Oh, no.
sad.
It's a sad day.
It's going to go in the basement with all the goo?
Yeah, until next year. And look, we'll see about next
Was
year.
there so much goo?
We'll see about next
Yeah,
year because
they
who
might
knows
not.
what the Ravens will look like.
That's right.
If Lamar's gone,
Wow.
Lamar's
I'm
not
gone.
going anywhere.
I know, but if he does, I'm not going to be with the Ravens. But look, I'll be quick.
7 minutes in.
The bottom line is this. The Ravens have done, or did last night, Nick, what they have done for the last few years, the last 3 years when I've been picking them and rooting for them and all that, they found a way to lose.
Correct.
That's really what it boils down to. First, you had this, I believe we have the video of the Steelers tush-push play. Now, if you can look, I don't know if we can slow it down, look at it closer. The Ravens aren't even set.
Yeah,
How in the world? Yeah. And the quarterback, he goes right over where they're like going all over the place. I mean, what in the world is this?
Taken out by a.
Yeah, like what is that? How you gonna stop it when you're like not even paying attention, right? You're trying to set up. All right, that's number one.
Yeah.
Number two.
Yeah.
Awuzie on the touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers. He slips. Again, I'm not sure. Can we zero in on where he just
right here,
gets juked and slips?
That was an accident, though.
Oh, okay. None of the other 32 teams seem to have accidents like this in huge moments.
Okay.
All right. And then, of course, everyone has seen it now ad nauseum.
Yeah.
A 44-yard field goal attempt. And I know, Nick, some are saying, they should have ran Derrick Henry to get a little closer. I agree with John Harbaugh on this, and 99.9% Henry doesn't fumble. But in the small percentage or chance that he does, then you're getting crushed. And it's not like it was a 54-yarder. It was a 44-yarder. Any NFL kicker should be able to make that kick. I get it as pressurized, but that's where you live as a kicker. And so they just found a way to lose the game.
So let me start there, and then let me go micro to macro on that end of game sequence. You guys have heard me say this about 10 different things, 100 different times when we talk about football, which is one of the reasons I love the NFL, and I love the small sample size nature of it. Everything matters.
Yes.
In every part of your season, everything matters. Derrick Henry fumbling in September might have cost them this game in January. Because had Derrick Henry not fumbled in those big spots early in the year, then maybe with 14 seconds left, one timeout, sitting on a 41-yard field goal at the time for a rookie kicker who had already kicked the ball out of bounds and gotten yelled at by Lamar Jackson for it, John Harbaugh would have said, you know what, let's give us a chance to make it from a 41-yarder to a 34-yarder or maybe a 0-yarder because Derrick Henry's known to pop a run every now and again.
Sure.
But I think because of the fumbling, and Derrick Henry's been brilliant all year. He's a first-round Hall of Famer. He hasn't been a fumbler throughout his career, but I think that maybe sticks in your mind. So everything matters.
And bottom line, they probably aren't fighting for their playoff life if
not
he
for that.
But
I'm saying even if if they had the exact same record, the exact same spot, but Henry hadn't had some high leverage fumbles throughout the season, maybe they run the ball there because it wasn't just that they were sitting on a 41-yarder. They went backwards to a 44-yarder. It's in notoriously the single hardest stadium to kick in football that you have just seen one of the best kickers somehow miss an extra point. So there's that. That's the micro. The macro is, in Week 18, they were who they have been all year long. A defense that for part of the game was awesome and part of the game was awful, but the whole game couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. An offense that at times makes plays where you're like, yeah, that's the only player in the league that can make that play. And oh my God, and Derrick Henry's his running back.
Great running back.
And then at times goes totally dormant. A team that is not super highly penalized, but man, the penalties seem to all come. They don't seem to have a lot of meaningless, who cares penalties. And to go back to the
they almost
decision.
had one on that, or they had one on that last possession.
Absolutely.
That could have cost them an
Jawan Taylor Memorial, illegal formation by the tackle. And then a coach who can get oddly, I think, conservative in weird spots, which was to me the center the ball, not run Derrick Henry. But again, I'm not killing him specifically for that. But this is who the Ravens are.
Yeah.
And it's who they've been. They lose games as favorites. They lose games where it felt like they had 10 ways to win it and only one way to lose it. They lose games where their quarterback, who we're going to get to in a moment, has some all-time highlight plays, but also some just bouts of total non-existence or what was he thinking moments. And so that's who the Ravens are. So to me, I'm not surprised because the coach, the team, and the quarterback, who I trust in a spot like this more, we're all on Pittsburgh. And I know it sounds...
Really?
Yeah. I don't, and we're going to get to, I don't like...
Quarterback and who?
Coach, the coach, the team overall, and quarterback. Yeah, I do. And so it doesn't surprise me that the 8-8 Baltimore Ravens, with all that talent, found a way to lose the game. It's awful that it happened in that fashion. The one thing I would say is, if not for an easier kick by a better kicker being missed a minute before, that kick's not to win it, it's to tie it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like a missed kick, there was the missed extra point was way more shocking for a guy who hadn't missed an extra point in 8 years than the missed field goal. And so I know they could have made the field goal and they would have gotten the win, but a missed kick went in both directions.
Tyler Loop's first miss inside 50 all year. Ends the year 29 for 30. Let's look specifically at Lamar's game. Found Zay Flowers a few times, set up the winning kick after a mundane first half. Ends the day with a 121 passer rating, almost 240 yards and 3 touchdowns. Third loss this year, Brou, with a passer rating of 120 or better. Do you think Lamar helped or hurt his big game reputation?
Look, I think he helped it. I mean, and he wasn't perfect. First half, only threw 6 passes. Now, one was a 38-yard touchdown, had like a high passer rating in the first half. And then the third quarter, they hardly had the ball. And he did have the interception, so that was clearly on him. But in the fourth quarter, it was,
but he was getting balls batted down. He had 4 balls.
Was it 4?
Well, he had 4 passes deflected, PBUs, but I thought he had 3 at the line of scrimmage.
He had another one after the interception.
I just view those differently than throwing into traffic.
I know you do. I think it depends, but go ahead.
It happens to all quarterbacks at times. But bottom line, fourth quarter, he was incredible. That was vintage Lamar Jackson, period. And look, during the first half, clearly it was all Derrick Henry all the time, which I was fine with. I did feel like you got to throw it a little bit more. I thought, but I'm not going to be critical because I've been calling for him to give Derrick Henry the ball, and they did it, and he was effective. He had over 100 yards first half. But I was working a few more passes because I think they could have scored more points in the first half. But bottom line, fourth quarter, he was great, Nick. And he made 2 plays. We were talking about it off the air. This first one, where he avoids this. I don't know how he avoided that sack. And then to throw it 50 yards that was perfectly thrown.
One of the best plays of his career.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic play, and that's why he's a 2-time MVP. And then on 4th and 7, when at this point I did think it was over, and he throws a beautiful pass between 2 Steelers.
Amazing.
And Isaiah Likely, credit to him, makes a fantastic catch. I mean, had to go up high. And Lamar had to throw it high to get it over the linebacker, 56, but great catch, great throw. So I think he played, it wasn't a perfect game, but I thought he played great. He had a 121 passer rating. You showed Wiles. And Nick, let me show this quickly because his big games, and obviously he hasn't been perfect in the playoffs, and he's had turnovers at critical moments in the playoffs against the Chiefs and the Bills. But these are his last 4 playoff games over the previous 2 years. The numbers are right now a few more turnovers than you like, but still, numbers are great. He's great against Houston in the win, great against Pittsburgh last year in the win, and then was up and down against the Bills and the Chiefs in the
he was just down against the Chiefs. They scored 7 points. He had 2 turnovers.
He had a touchdown. He had threw for almost 300 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with most of what you said. That graphic it doesn't move me much because
those are big games. Every playoff games, not just the ones against in the AFC
No, those are all big games, but that's 4 games, and in my opinion, he played objectively very poorly in one of them, and he played poorly in another one, and then he played great. Yeah, the Bills, and so the Bills game is what I'm going to allude to here because listen, his fourth quarter. And this is where sports can be unfair and cruel. If Loop makes that field goal, none of how he played changes. And that fourth quarter is regular season legendary. You know what I mean? As legendary as it can be in a because that is a playoff. I know Wilds get mad at me. It wasn't a playoff game, but it was a playoff game.
Yeah.
And so
pretty close to a playoff.
Right. It was as close to a playoff game as you can get. And
same thing with last year with Mark Andrews dropping the pass.
That wasn't for the win. That would have gotten you the tie.
Right.
And so, and here's his numbers in the fourth quarter compared to the first 3. And it is stark. The first 3 quarters, at the very beginning of the fourth quarter, Collinsworth does a whole monologue about how Lamar hasn't done anything. You know what I mean? He had the 1 touchdown pass, he says, for 39 yards, 29 yards, whatever it was. And other than
outside of that,
outside of that, he's done nothing. And then he lights fire. And the 4th down play was unbelievable. But here is what I think is somewhat objective reality of how we grade sports figures, all-time great sports figures. It's hard to get a ton of credit for digging yourself out of a hole that you helped create if you don't dig yourself all the way out. It's what happened in that Bills game. That Bills game, he was part of the reason they were trailing. He then was awesome in the second half, but they didn't get over the hump.
I think it was more so the Bills game than this, though. I mean, he didn't do much, but he didn't.
No, I just thought they had opportunities in the opportunities. Pittsburgh was not doing much, and they had opportunities to be in position.
They should have been up a lot more at halftime.
Right, that's the point I don't think it's too much to ask. Can we get 60 minutes of excellent football from Lamar in a spot like this? This is they keep losing these games as favorites. Yeah. They're the favorites at home against Kansas City. They score 7 points and lose. They're the favorites against Buffalo in Buffalo. They dig the big hole. They can't quite dig themselves out. They come this close. They're the favorites against the Steelers team that all week long, the conversation on this show was no DK Metcalf, how they're looking, the Ravens team. And so did he help or hurt his big game reputation? The reason I would say he hurt it is because, here's why though, and I think you might agree with me in this regard, because the only way to actually help his big game reputation is to go on a playoff run. And because they lost, he can't. Like, this is going to be I don't think that he choked in this game. In fact, far from it. He didn't do much early, and then when the stakes were the highest, he played, I think, the best football he's played all year. I think KW probably was ready to be like, if the game kept going the way it was, well, Lamar's clearly hurt. If he played the fourth quarter the way he did,
he started to like move around. I'm like, oh, this looks like Lamar.
A little better.
But this is the big game reputation is about this graphic. It's his playoff win-loss record compared to the other legends. These are the other multi-time MVPs.
Right. That's different. If we're just talking about playoffs.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is the only way to really help that
playoffs,
is they needed to win this game. So he had an opportunity to improve this
But I do think you can't, and even last year, big game against the Steelers in the regular season, he's great. Big game in the playoffs, he's great. So, but the bottom line is he does have to win, even if he doesn't play that way.
Sure.
If they had continued, say the first half the way they were playing, and at the end of the game he's thrown 15 passes, doesn't do much, but they win, that actually helps him more than what happened yesterday, because at the end of John Elway wasn't great in Super Bowls, but he won them. You know, and you see there are other players, Peyton Manning's second Super Bowl, he won. So he just needs to win.
Can I ask you one quick question, KW, before we go to Harbaugh real quick?
Yeah.
You said it was vintage Lamar. Here is the one place I will disagree. He doesn't run anymore. Even yesterday, he didn't he got caught down.
Scrambles.
I mean, how many yards he run for? Like
9. Well, 9.
9.
Including sacks.
And so
sacks.
No, I don't think that
numbers?
doesn't include sacks. Like
he only had like 9 yards.
9 yards rushing. Like
But he was evasive.
He was evasive.
Yeah.
He was evasive.
We'll see next year. We'll see how hurt he. Next year can he run?
All right, we're going to quickly talk about John Harbaugh. Lamar was asked about his future with the team and also about his coach's future. Bruce or Nick, do you want to go here?
No, Bruce, go.
Yeah. Should the Ravens move on from Harbaugh?
Well, first of all, with Lamar's response, I don't doubt. Obviously, he's stunned. I mean, I think everybody was stunned by the way that ended. So I don't think he's lying about that. I'm not thinking about all that stuff. I think he's telling the truth. But even in that situation, if you're asked about that, you can say, look, Coach is my man, of course we want him back, or, he's been with me my whole career.
I think that's fair.
You know what I mean?
It was a weird response.
Yeah, you can even say, look, I said last week, Coach and our relationship is great, it's fine, but that decision's above my head. Like, I don't, you can even say something like that. If they had asked him, do you want Derrick Henry back next year? He'd have been like, as stunned as he is, of course, yes, I want Derrick Henry back. So I think he showed that, he may be ready to move on. And the bottom line is, yes, I think they need to move on from John Harbaugh. The things we showed on that tush push highlight, that's a coaching thing. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not saying the players don't have any responsibility, but there's too many times. I think the penalties in the big games.
Well, show the blown double-digit leads. It gets lost in this because of how the game was played.
Yeah, he has more double-digit. Yeah,
they were up 10-0.
And he has more double-digit leads blown than anyone in the last 6 years, last 5 years. So
is that partially because they get a lot of 10-point leads?
I'm sure it is part, but we did that. Yes, they do get a lot. They still, even when you adjust for that, blow a wildly disproportionate amount.
And it's time. 18 years. I think they need a new voice. Because here's the thing, Nick. What's going to change next year? Lamar's he's not going to be better, not much better than he's been over the last 3 years, this year notwithstanding. Derrick Henry, you just hope, is as good as he's been the last 2 years. What's going to change if you don't make
and I can tell from the look on your face, it's a be careful what you wish for.
Because it's always a risk.
No,
I agree with that.
The hot name out there is Kevin Stefanski.
No,
look, no-go.
I would look at him, but he hasn't had success with quarterbacks. No, the guy I want is Brian Flores. If I'm the Ravens, I want he continues the defensive culture, and he could obviously have Lamar.
So we'll talk more about this with Coach, and just give me 30 seconds, Dust. Because I do think it's a be careful what you wish for.
No question.
But I am going to focus on Lamar's answer there, because, and I try to have very thick skin.
Okay.
I have taken something of a beating for being an alleged conspiracy theorist. Because I keep talking about this Lamar Harbaugh rift, and I have no evidence, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I just have this platform because of my boyish good looks. Lamar Jackson does not want John Harbaugh back. And if he wanted John Harbaugh back, when he is asked, the final thing we are going to hear from Lamar Jackson all year,
that's a great point,
at that podium, do you want your coach back? Even if you kind of don't want him back, but you just be like, yeah, of course, coach is my coach. It's the only coach we've had. I'm devastated, but yeah, of course. No, and then behind the scenes, be like, get rid of him.
Right.
He didn't even do that.
Couldn't even do that, you're right.
It was, I am not even going to give a superficial public vote of confidence, because he doesn't have one. And I've been trying to tell America this for 3 months. And I don't know what the Ravens are going to do, by the way. That doesn't mean Harbaugh will be gone, but Lamar Jackson made it very clear where he stands on that.
Do you agree what's going to change if they bring back Harbaugh?
Well,
you're not going to be better than you were 2 years ago.
Is who the quarterback is. But I don't think they're going to do
think
that.
about that.
Vintage Rodgers and a beat-up Broussard. That's next on FS1 on the Fox Sports Channel on Sirius XM. I'll tell you what could change. You're way below 500.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a risk to get a new coach.
Steelers win. Rodgers throws for nearly 300 yards, leads 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter before a Boswell missed extra point, puts a scare into the Steelers. but the kicking karma looped back around as Loop's missed field goal put the Steelers into the playoffs. Are you surprised by Rodgers'
Surprised?
Okay. Don't do it. Don't
surprised. It was part of my 3-0 weekend, which, by the way, is tease for 5 o'clock. My 3-0 weekend juxtaposed with Danny's 0-3 weekend.
Wow.
I'm just letting you, Brou, this matters to Brou. He said I was fighting for the regulation's honor. Flip the picks competition to the 3 to 5 show from 5 to 6.
Major
but
collapse.
We'll get to that later.
Major collapse by Parkins.
Major collapse. But when we talked about it on Friday, he has not come through in a spot where the whole football world was watching him in 5 years, since January of 21, that he had, since then he had a home conference championship game loss to Brady. He had the home playoff loss to the Niners where they scored 10 points, the home loss to the Lions to get into the playoffs, and then had not been in all the eyes of the football world on you. Can you come through? And it looked shaky for a while there. Kyle Hamilton going out helped. But like the other thing we said on Friday was, can he just make a couple huge plays? And the throw down the seam, was it to Thielen?
Yeah,
there was
stupid.
There was
Perfect
one
throw.
to Thielen,
Well
and then there was one
Freiermuth.
to Freiermuth right over the guys, as Collinsworth said, an ear hole. And then the Calvin Austin play was open. But the Freiermuth throw was great. The Thielen throw was his best throw. It was weird to me, Coach, that he kind of panicked when the headset went out because I was like, I thought you were calling your own plays anyway. But regardless, this is the other throw.
That's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And he did just enough. And so I'm not surprised. And we're going to get into this in a minute, I think this team's a little scary.
Oh, wow.
And in part because, Coach, he's been a different guy his last 5 games. The first 11 games, they're 6-5, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks, 190 passing yards a game. Last 5, 2 of which, obviously one of them was terrible, the Browns game, but 250 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks. He's playing his best football right now.
This whole season for me, he surprised me. And his whole approach, leaving the Jets and going to Pittsburgh, I didn't think it was going to work. I know you were a big believer in it. Obviously didn't love what happened in New York, but since he's been there, and you heard him talk about on the broadcast, talked about him leading meetings in the building, leading meetings outside of the building, making sure that everybody was on the same page. He hasn't had any issues with Arthur Smith. He's really only been a distraction one time when he called out the receivers for not going to the meeting. But now,
that was a positive response to that.
Maybe that was actually true, and it seems like what he was in New York, he's taken this opportunity to scrub that away and try to redefine how the end of his career is going to go. And that's translated. I thought he had a chance to be an MVP or lead the Jets to the playoffs when he went to the Jets, and that wasn't the case. But now he's not reinvented himself, but maybe just gone back to the guy that he used to be and is very comfortable being part of the program as opposed to being the program, and this is translated into them getting this playoff opportunity.
Yeah, look, he was great. I was surprised because I didn't expect much from him, especially without DK Metcalf. And I thought you showed the great throws he made, Nick, but Coach, watching that game, I was like, to me, he was dominating it with his mind, with his intelligence. Like he knew he threw it down the field pretty well, but without Metcalf, like he used his running backs a lot, and a lot of yards after the catch. He was just controlling the game, and I think the reason he was able to do it was because Baltimore couldn't get a pass rush. So he was comfortable just sitting back there picking, the defense apart with what he wanted to do.
Yes.
And so I thought he was great. He has been very good this year, and now with Metcalf coming back,
There's not a much bigger difference in pass rushes between Baltimore's and Houston's. So that will be a lot of it was.
That's why I think
I was surprised that you're like, ooh, they're frisky.
Well, I've got, as you would say, stat of the month.
Wow. Coming up.
Well, yeah, I mean in this segment.
Okay.
Soon.
Yeah. Quickly, stat of the 3 of this quarter hour.
Yeah.
Can you put up Rodgers just last night, Dusty, and look at this footnote, Coach. 218 yards after the catch, Bruce. So
yeah,
it was a good amount.
All of his yards that were not after the catch were those two throws we just showed, and the Calvin Austin.
So to me, Coach, this is either great play calling because he had to pass the ball to 9 receivers, including Gainwell.
Gainwell's awesome.
But so was this a brilliant offensive game plan without DK Metcalf, or was it just sort of a almost failure of the Ravens defense?
No, I think it was, to Brew's point about the pass rush, part of the reason they couldn't get the pass rush is because they did take a lot of quick throws. So they weren't going to allow the Ravens the opportunity to run exotic blitzes, to bring a lot of different looks, and they were going to push the ball out to the perimeter. They were going to use wide receiver screens, tight end screens, a lot of those things, quick passes to take away any advantage that they could gain from bringing pressure. So I don't think it was a failure by the Ravens. I think it was more about Aaron recognizing where pressure was going to come, when it was going to come, and then saying, okay, we're not going to give you the opportunity to do that. We're going to throw it out here and then take our chances. You know, maybe a 3-yard run becomes a 10-yard run.
Ravens missed a lot of tackles.
Yeah, and it worked, and they were willing to stay with it, which sometimes isn't always the case either.
And Gainwell's awesome.
Yeah,
Gainwell's he won their team MVP award. I found that out during the broadcast. I didn't know it. He deserved it. I mean, he's awesome.
Steelers set up a home game against the Texans. Pittsburgh trying to break their playoff cold spell, 0-6 in their last 6 playoff tries. Are you starting to think Aaron and the Steelers can make a little run here, bro?
I think they're going to lose to Houston. Like right now, I'm feeling like I'm going to pick Houston because of the pass rush. Now, maybe he can get rid of the ball so quickly that they nullify it. But with Danielle Hunter, 3rd in the league in sacks with 15, Will Anderson Jr. in the top 10 with 12, I just think whether they get to him or not, it's going to be pressure. And he's not going to be as comfortable in the pocket as he was yesterday. So I think that's going to cause problems. And if C.J. Stroud can generate any offense, then I think Houston will win. If they somehow beat Houston, then I just look at the field and I do like Jacksonville a lot. But I look at the quarterbacks are all, if it's other than Josh Allen, everybody's inexperienced. And that's where Rodgers will have an advantage. So if they beat Houston, look, I don't think they'll get to the Super Bowl. I will pick them not to get to the Super Bowl. But if they beat Houston and it's Bo Nix and other young Drake May young quarterbacks, then I think you have to at least give them a shot.
Yeah, I'm not as optimistic. This is a flawed team who beat a flawed team. And the reason they were in this situation is because they blew it against the Browns the week before. So it's not like they're going into the playoffs red hot.
They won 4 out of 5. They had one. They're not red hot.
And they lost one game that
was really bad.
Really bad.
Really
at a moment where they couldn't. And I understand DK wasn't there for that, and he wasn't there for this, but they're also a 40-yard field goal away from us having a completely, radically different conversation as to should Mike Tomlin be there, will Aaron Rodgers come back. So there was an element of extreme luck against a team that was very flawed, and this team has been very flawed. So it's a nice story. Maybe they'll be able to capture some playoff magic, but I'm not as optimistic as Nick is.
Well, listen, I have been as pessimistic about Rodgers in general as anyone on the show, basically since we've been on in the afternoons. I did not believe in the Steelers going into this year. I got 3 reasons, though, that I believe in them this coming weekend, potentially. And if it's this weekend, and as Bruce said, then it's against Bo Nix. I've been betting against Bo Nix all year. Why stop now? Reason 1 is this. I think Houston has looked a little creaky as of late and hasn't been quite as dominant. And this weekend, I don't know how many people were watching Texans-Colts, and again, they took CJ out at halftime, but it was a game they didn't want to lose because of what it would mean for them in the playoff seeding. So that's one data point. Data point 2, I think Aaron Rodgers will be willing to get hit in the playoffs.
That's interesting.
I think one of the reasons, and I don't blame him for this, that he was like, I want to be healthy for the playoffs. And so I think, again, I don't think he's going to be like old Big Ben standing in there having guys fall off him, but I don't think it will be quite as quick of a trigger.
Big hit
on 3rd down late in this game, he took one of the biggest hits, and he knew he was going to get hit. So I think that it. And then stat of the month.
Here we
and
go.
I can't. And
Stat
this
of the
is,
month.
Coach,
Ooh,
I thought
stat.
you'd be all over this because this has upset alert written all over it for you. Who's the greatest coach in NFL history, Wilds? Give me a name.
Bill Belichick.
Okay, if it's not Bill Belichick, who is it? Give me another name. Who it could be. If it's not Belichick. Vince Lombardi,
Knowing
some
you,
would say.
knowing you,
Nick
Andy Reid.
Sirianni,
Andy
winning.
Reid, some would say, whatever. It's all wrong. The answer is Mike Tomlin on Monday nights wins this game, America. Monday night. 22-3, never lost at home. Been coaching there 20 years. Wins this game. Is it on Monday? Josh, check for me. Have they said it? Tomlin on a Monday? I like it. I like it.
That's stat of the month.
I'm sorry.
the stat I
Never
saw-
lost at home on Monday night? Never lost?
That's not bad.
The stat I saw was 1-5 this season against playoff teams. The only playoff team they beat was New England.
New England.
And we had
That
5 turnovers
trumps
and a
the
chance.
stat of the
And
month.
every
January
other
5th,
playoff team
probably
they
have
lost
it.
to.
Stat of the
It
month.
is right now.
Stat of the month. Mike
And
Tomlin
up for
0-6
grabs.
in his last 6 playoff games. How about
Outside of that, it is on Monday.
Guess what? None of those games were on Monday.
That's right.
So you guys, last time you guys did this was, do you guys remember Trevor on Saturdays going into that playoff game against the Chargers? And you guys were
He
all
looked
mocking
great in the
me.
first half.
He was unbelievable. And then it was second half, bro. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.